I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. I apologize for being a couple minutes late, um, but that stuff tends to happen when you work from home. So I'm glad we are able to touch on separating that home work life when we're in this situation that we're in now. So being all of us or a lot of us being confined to a home office space, or maybe being confined to a home office space with more than just yourself now. So, quick introduction. I'm Eric Skavang. I'm co-owner of 605 Media and Entertainment. And I have also worked for AT&T in several different roles, but I'm currently in the business channel, and I've been in that channel for 3 years. And the position comes with a work from home / work in the field job description. So really for the last few years, I've been living this work-life balance on maintaining working from home and then still enjoying family time and not letting the work at home impact or intrude on the family time and the social time, because that's just as important. You need to be successful at your job, but you also need to have a social aspect of life, which is very challenging right now. So I want to touch on a few of those things and just some different things that I've learned over the last few years. Feel free to ask questions if you wish. And then I'm going to throw a little challenge out at the end of this and do a little giveaway if we get enough participation. So let's kick it off with just kind of some tips. And I just last night or yesterday I went through and created a list of different ideas and different tips. And I reached out to a few of my colleagues. Hey, what do you do that I don't do? And at the end of the day, there isn't a foolproof method or one way is better than the other. It's really what works for you. So keep that in mind. These are more suggestions and things to try. And if there's something that you feel adds context to what I talk about, I'd love for you to throw it in the comments. And that way, when others within the community and that follow the Chamber Facebook page jump in, they can look through the comments and say, oh yeah, there's another great tip or something I should try. So I really hope at the end of the day you take one or two different things out of this and run with it and maybe tweak something that you're not already doing, or maybe you thought you had a good plan and it's not working like you wanted. I hope to throw some things out there that at least one or two of them will resonate with you and help you out. So I would say the biggest thing is maintain regular hours. So if you're used to going to the office from 8 to 5, work to still incorporate that 8 to 5 office time, or 9 to 4. But maintain what your normal work week would look like the best you can. And that may change a little bit, especially like in my wife and I situation, we're both working from home now, where when I took this position, I had a room in the office, or a room that we turned into an office. So it's kind of, I've had that workspace, but now we're trying to balance both of us working here. So maybe sharing the workspace a little bit for conference calls, and then one of us go out with the kids and work and do things that we can do where we don't necessarily have to be on the phone. So trying to find a way to separate that a little bit the best you can. I know it's going to be challenging, and it has been challenging for us. I'd be lying if I said it hasn't been. So maintaining those regular hours. Number 2 is set a morning routine or continue a morning routine. So I would say my wife especially, since they've been homebound working, has basically gotten up every day and gotten ready as if she was going to the office. As humans, we're creatures of habit. So and your body develops internally and builds off of what you do on a regular basis. So, I look at fasting, comparing this to fasting. So if someone fasts for a 24-hour period once a week, your body knows that every if you do it every Sunday night to Monday night, your body knows that after a few weeks that you're prepping for a fast. So it starts learning that and adapting to it. So the same thing for getting ready. If your body's used to getting ready, or you going through that motion of getting ready every day and going to work, being there at 8, don't stop doing that. Take a shower, get ready. It doesn't mean you have to put your fancy clothes on, but if that makes you work better and stay more focused, by all means, go the full 100%, but keep that morning routine, and it'll help you and your brain basically prepare for that work day to start at 8 o'clock. So when 8 o'clock hits, it's not like, oh, I got to try and separate what I'm doing here and go to work. So keep that. The third one, and I think this is a tough one, especially now. I mean, a lot of us have become home-based workers and home-based teachers and principals and admin staff, whatever you want to call it. So, but we have to set rules and expectations with families. So much easier to do with older kids. I've got an 8th grader and a 4th grader, and they're both, they do their thing. They don't really bug us. They know if we're on a call, they need to be quiet. The toughest one has been our 3-year-old. So balancing that. But, my 3-year-old's not going to understand if I set expectations with her. She's going to have no idea what I'm doing. But I'm saying, siblings, spouses, friends, say, hey, these times, I mean, if you call, if I'm able to, I'll answer. But if I don't freak out. I'm working. And I just need you to know that from 8 to 5, it might still be hard to get a hold of me, even though I'm at home. So I know when I first started at home, that even my kids were guilty of it. It was just, hey, could you bring this to school? Could you do this? Could you do that? So I finally just kind of had to say, well, I do work from home, or I'm a flexible schedule, but it doesn't mean I don't do anything. So, making sure everyone understands what you're doing for work, what your schedule looks like, will definitely help with those interruptions. And so moving on to number 4, schedule breaks and actually take them. So we could jot down that I'm going to take a break at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and I'm going to eat lunch at noon. And then you get to working and you're thinking, I'm just on a roll. I'm just going to keep working. The problem you'll run into, and I've been guilty of this myself, is you're going to hit a burnout phase, and then you never leave your workspace. You're not getting up. You're not moving around, which at the end of the day, your work becomes less productive because you become lethargic. You're not fueling your body, keeping your body moving a little bit. So make sure if you're scheduling breaks, make sure you take them. And if you have to push through one because you have something come up, move it to a different time, but be flexible and make sure you're still taking those. Which ties into the 5th one is leave your house. A lot of times I will take the kids, or I used to take the kids to school every morning. And then at that point I might go do the grocery store, or stop and get whatever we might need for the house at that point in time. I might go have coffee with somebody, but making sure to get out of the house. I think it's probably more important now than it was then. So I'm not taking the kids to school, and I'm not going to the gym. So now it's, making a grocery store run, or this weekend was helping a lot with the Rick on the Roof fundraiser downtown. But just getting outside, it could take a walk around the block. We can still be with our immediate family in the time of social distancing. So, it's still important to get out, get some fresh air, open the windows up if you can, but leave the house in some capacity when the weather allows you to do so. A big one, and this is another one that's been challenging for us, is keeping a dedicated workspace. So, as I mentioned, we've got an extra bedroom in the house that I'd put a desk in when I took the position with AT&T and now. I do a lot of the 605 media, book work and stuff in this office too. So having it separate means I can walk out of here and kind of check out. I went through a short phase when I started the position where I thought working in the living room was a good idea, and you don't get anything done. So having some kind of dedicated space, whether it's in an office, the dining room, a bedroom, or finding, some sort of space where you can kind of, this, when I'm right here, this is where I'm working. This is when I'm being productive for, my career and my job. That's going to help separate some of that personal, some of the personal things from interrupting you throughout the day. Moving to number 7, so socializing. Socializing with coworkers, family, friends. So what I do quite a bit with coworkers, especially, we use Zoom, we use WebEx, we have team calls a few times a week, and the context of those has changed. So I listened to Meg's Team Dynamics conversation the other day, and I think it's a challenging time. But having Zoom and WebEx, FaceTime, and all the other tools available can really bridge that gap and still give us some social connections. So if I call a coworker, there may be times where we call throughout the day, but then maybe later on in the day we FaceTime. Just to kind of give you something other than a phone call, right? And then I talk to family throughout the week quite regularly, and with my immediate family being home, that helps a lot too, because I can check out from work for 15 minutes or a half hour, see how the kids are doing with school stuff, or if Alicia has to run to the office for work things, I'll go out and watch TV with our 3-year-old and entertain her for a little while. So, having some social aspect in your workday is going to help, in my opinion. It helps keep me sane. Being able to check out, maybe share events, some different things with either coworkers or family and friends. And I think it's helped keep me more productive in this time than I thought I was going to be. And on top of that, communication is huge. So in the next keynote I put down was communication, making sure that you over communicate, because our communication means have changed drastically over the last 2 weeks. We're in our 3rd week really of social distancing, home-based work for a lot of individuals. So our communication has to be more on point than it's probably ever been. So, texting, emailing, phone calls, however you can communicate, but make sure you're keeping in touch with those that you're accountable to, or those that might be accountable to you. You can never communicate too much when times are especially like they are right now. And this builds on, so the next one builds on our conversation from Charisse the other day on remaining positive. There's so much going on right now in the state, in the nation, in the world, and there's so much negativity. We have to do our best to remain positive and push through. 3 weeks ago, I went through a phase wondering how I was going to be able to do anything, because when I work in business to business sales in both my full-time job and 605 Media, we rely on business relationships. And when a lot of those are closing, it's frustrating. And I was thinking, and I had shared some conversations with Destin and my boss at AT&T, what am I going to do? How's this going to look? I rely on this income. So I hit that point of negativity, and at the end of the day, I decided, well, there's really nothing I can do. I can't change what's happening on my own. So all I can do is just keep putting in the activity, doing the work that I know has made me successful in the past, and eventually the law of averages will even out. The following week was a complete 180. I was completely shocked at the success that we, had over that last week and through the end of March. So, yes, I hit a negative point, but I also thought to myself, once I found the positive out of it and realized that I can't change it, I just have to keep doing what I know works, and things will balance out. So keep that positivity, remain positive, and if you need to, tie that into socializing. So if you have to reach out to a teammate, say, hey, I'm really struggling right now. I just, here's where I'm at. And you guys talk through that together. It's going to give you the social aspect, but now you guys can both find the positivity and help each other through it. So, another, so number 10 would be take advantage of your perks. So I would say, I like I said, I've worked at home for 3 years, home and field base, where now I'm not allowed to leave the house for any business, but take advantage of it. I mean, you do have some flexibility. So when I say schedule or set, maintaining regular hours, scheduling your breaks, one of the biggest things for me was back in July, I started going to the gym on a regular basis. And, that was me taking advantage of the perks of working at home and having some flexibility. So I would I'd take the kids to school, go to the gym, and come home and, jump right into work basically from there. But what it allows you to do is I'm getting out of the house, which we talked about earlier. I'm doing something other than work. And then I just typically wouldn't take, an actual lunch break that day. So on the days I'd go to the gym, I would just make something, work and have a light lunch while I'm doing that. So, so definitely take advantage of the flexibility. If right now we can't go a lot of places or it's not recommended. So because of that, I mean, go take a walk, take a dog for a walk, maybe go with the kids if you've got kids, go outside and maybe play some soccer, or let the kids play outside, do some chalk art, which will actually be a group that I'm a part of is launching a new challenge for April here in the next day or two. I actually saw the email come through right when I started this on our flyer and stuff, so I'll be sharing that with Bailey to help get the word out there and get some involvement with that. So a little bit of a social distancing challenge and activity for kids and families to do, to encourage them to get outside. And excuse me. And the last thing I have on my list here of recommendations or suggestions is, ending your day with a routine. So we're starting our day with a routine. We want to end our day with a very similar routine. So when you look at that, it could mean, what do you do when you leave your office every day, or when you used to leave your office every day? Was it, you're shutting your computer down, wiping things down, and you're punching out and you're leaving? Or, did you go about things a different way? So for me, working at home, a lot of times, I'd end my day when I knew my family was going to be getting home soon from work, which was usually around 5:30. So then about 5:15, I'd check out, shut things down on my work stuff, and go start getting dinner ready. And that was kind of almost the same every single day, and still remains that way, even though I'm not leaving my house as much. But this gives yourself and your body that, and your mind really, that context, like, hey, okay, the day's ending, work's going to be over, it's time to go get dinner ready, have dinner with the family, relax with the family for the evening. So that gives your mind a chance to kind of check out, turn things off for the day, and then, go back into your personal life just like you would Monday through Friday, or, Tuesday through Saturday. I know everyone's work schedules are different. One thing I would add too, and this is something that has worked for us, and I didn't make a note of it, but it just crossed my mind. With my wife and I both working at home, sometimes there's things where, if she needs to go to the office for a few hours to do some things, because they're kind of taking shifts, because not all of her work can be done here. So that means I need to make sure that I'm taking care of our 3-year-old, and she's not terrorizing the place. So a lot of times what I'll do is after everyone goes to bed in the evening, 9 o'clock or so, I might go in and make up, a few of those hours. So, like where I say taking advantage of perks, that's another one. I mean, you have the flexibility. So if you cut out for a couple of hours and I communicate, to my boss, hey, I have to cut out for a couple of hours to take care of a few things family wise. But I'm going to jump in about 9 o'clock and finish some things up, or I'll get up early and knock a few things out before the family gets up. As long as you're communicating that and to those that you're accountable to, most of them are going to understand. I've seen leadership in several different aspects take a complete 180 when it comes to flexibility now because of the time that we're in. And just listening to some different team calls. I'm in a grad program right now. Same thing. Flexibility is huge, and there's more leniency than we've probably ever seen. So we have to be careful with it. But we also have the ability to add some flexibility to our lives to make sure that we're remaining happy. Because if we're not happy, we're not going to be productive. So, and what I did too is at the end of my notes here, I kind of just threw out a sample schedule, just to kind of give you guys a feel for what my day is like. So we usually start at 7 with the team call, and at the time it would be 8:30. I'd go to the gym. Right now I'm doing home-based workouts from our gym, which, most gyms are offering right now. Come back and work at, from 10 to noon, do, something for lunch as far as making lunch. Work again until 3, maybe take a little break, walk around, go get the mail, maybe go around the block with the kids to get them out of the house for a little bit, and then come back and work until 5. And like I said, I still kind of end my day with, about 5:30, I start making dinner for the family as a, means of kind of winding down. Cooking is a hobby of mine. And I really enjoy it, and it doesn't bother me that I cook for our family. And it's kind of my way to, just kind of do my own thing and, check out for a while. So, yet you're still involved with your family. So, a few other notes I'll add is, for lunches, I learned this kind of the hard way. And I thought at first our trainer at the time was just kind of blowing smoke, so to speak. But, I went to Atlanta for a month of training when I first took this position. And every day when we left for lunch, he'd say, don't load up on carbs and a ton of protein. Otherwise, you guys won't get anything done this afternoon. Well, we all just kind of laughed at him and did our own thing. And then about 2:30, we'd all be struggling to keep our eyes open. So I would add that I've found that eating a light lunch of, small portion of like 4 to 6 ounces of protein and veggies is 10 times better than driving through a drive-through and eating a big hamburger and a large French fry and a soda. Because what tends to happen is when you load up on a bunch of carbs, your body gets that quick energy source from the carbohydrates, and then tanks about 2 o'clock and you hit that wall. So it gets you the afternoon slump is real at that point. So I would suggest, small healthy meal for lunch and try to keep it low carb. And I only say that just from experience. I used to hit the afternoon slump and could honestly take a nap, and it's sometimes hard to fight that, especially if you're the only one home at the time. So so that would be my suggestion too, is not loading up on a high carb meal for lunch. So, I think I have covered all of my notes, so I appreciate those that were able to jump on and watch. So my little challenge that I want to add at the end of this, and I didn't even tell Bailey about this, but this is funding out of my own pocket. So, but I think it'd be beneficial if anyone that watches this shares a tip that wasn't shared in the video, or puts their sample schedule, kind of how you have scheduled your day, to adapting to working at home and finding that balance between work and personal life, family life. So it can just be brief, like I went through kind of a quick timeline of my day, but posting that in the comments, and then I'll give a $25 gift card out to one lucky winner, and it'll be to somewhere local in Spearfish, as far as one of our restaurants that's offering curbside pickup or delivery. But I just want to see what everyone else has to say, and I think a lot can be said for just planning your day and having a lot of your day planned out. It's going to keep you on task, and you're going to feel a lot more productive at the end of the day. So I thank everyone for jumping on. Again, the challenge is posting a daily schedule for you and what you want or hope to follow, or a tip that I didn't provide in the 11 that I listed here, and sharing that in the comments. And then we'll pick a winner here in a few days. Be sure to join, or if you haven't watched all of the videos, I'd encourage you to go back and watch them. I watched a few this morning, actually, for the second time, and still found value in pieces of information that I didn't catch the first time. And then we have some great upcoming speakers this week, too. I know Hans Nelson, Katie from CMG Financial, my business partner Destin is going to talk over some things, and I'm sure I'm missing some too. So, but there's a lot on tap this week, and there's a lot of good information coming out, and a lot of community members, business members, just providing this out of the kindness of their hearts. So I thank all of them for their time. Lastly, I mentioned the Rick on the Roof project. I believe we're very close to getting him down. I know they were actually, because of safety, working on getting some things down today, because we're confident we can hit that mark. But if you haven't been to the Spearfish Strong Community United Facebook page, go on, take a look at Rick's story. Destin has done a great job documenting that. And I don't say that because him and I work together. I just say that because I've heard great comments from very reliable media sources and very respected people that are blown away by the quality. So, take a look at those. And if you have the ability to give in any way, shape, or form, whether financially or some food items, there's instructions on there on how to do that as well, and a link to the GoFundMe page. All of the GoFundMe fees are being paid for by National Mutual Benefits, so 100% of whatever you give is going back to the cause. And their goal was $15,000, and Bailey encouraged me to shout that out on here. So the community continues to blow me away on the giving spirit, considering the current environment for a lot of individuals, and it's just it feels good to be a part of. So I want to thank you all again, and hope you guys have a great rest of your week.